Don't tell me that I need saving. Finally awake and living. Yeah, yeah. The pressure inside was building. I felt under attack, and now my mind's attacked, and I've chosen my path. I've chosen my path. Oh, what's this? I finally read this helplessness. Tired of feeling like I'm upside down, so I'm gonna turn it all around. And oh, and dear God, save my soul 'cause it is flawed. Tired of feeling like I'm upside down, so I'm gonna turn it all around.
Alright, yo, what's up, everybody? How are we all? Alright, so first things first, I want everyone to ask some questions before I show what, because it's probably gonna answer the question anyway. So, do you have any questions about teams and how to make a team to go into contenders and stuff like that? Like, just roughly, and I'll adapt on it using a VOD, right? So the VOD I have in front of me is from Overwatch contenders in the Pacific. It was Blank Esports versus Mega. Now, I was just gonna analyze this part of it, this map specifically, because I know what happened and I can make sense of it. But if you can't make sense of like, if you were to look at a VOD like this and you couldn't make sense of all of it, that's fine. Like, I wouldn't be able to analyze it all. I'd only be able to analyze this map because it's pretty easy understanding what happened. So, first things first, like, what questions do you guys have? Like, just like general questions about the game, comms, team play, stuff like that. Thanks for the follow. Who was that? Ro Eskimo, thanks for the follow, dude. Any questions? You have like 10 seconds of questions, and then I'll go on about like what I was thinking of showing. It's a bit budget, by the way. I'm using Microsoft Word and like VODs and shit, so don't expect anything to be professional, but yeah, works out. Alright, guessing there's no questions at all. Okay, cool. Alright, so first things first is I wanted to bring this up. Okay, hang on. The Overwatch okay. Okay. Alright, so a lot of people ask like how do they start like becoming in like going into a team, right? First time. So the first thing like hang on, it's a bit fucked up. Alright, so the first thing I think, right, is that you want a proper setup. You want like a good monitor, preferably 144 hertz. I saw a massive difference between 60 hertz and 144 hertz. You want a whatever decent mouse, something mouse pad. Obviously, you want a decent mouse pad so you can flick and shit. Decent sensitivity. I'm pretty sure if you speak to any of the pro players, and also there's this. You can what's it called? You can ask them what like a good DPI and sensitivity is, rather than just like putting your own. I mean, it should be what you're comfortable with, but I've seen a lot of people with like insanely high or insanely low sensitivities, and that's not really good. So try to find out what the median is for that, right? Second thing is information. So like you want to know exactly how the game's meant to be played. So when you're in scrims and you're trying to understand like what's going wrong, you want to say like, okay, well, what did an Overwatch League team do different to what we're doing, right? Like you want to try play. Obviously, you're not gonna be playing to that tier, but you want to try to play to that tier. You want to try to play to the best of your ability, right? That's the main thing. So know exactly how the game is meant to be played. Now, you could do this by watching Overwatch League videos on YouTube, like, the videos explaining the game or whatever. Or maybe just watching some pro players in the O scene. So, like, there's heaps of people in ANZ who probably will be happy to help you. So, there's that. What the fuck just happened? 2 secs. Good night, Kings. Stream dying? No, we're good, we're good. Alright, so there's that. And, let me just get this shit up. Yeah, so there's that. And also, grind the fuck out. So once you like, you have a good setup and you know how the game's supposed to be played and you understand the game to a decent level, grind the fuck out. That means like choose a role. As like, if you want to choose support and you want to choose Ana or whatever, and then you just want to grind the fuck out of everything to do with Ana. Like if that comes to terms with like videos, if you watch videos and that'll help. I don't know. If you want to grind ranked, maybe that will help. Go into like practice range and practice aim, stuff like that. But it doesn't always have to be playing right. It could just be watching better players, learning how they do it. That's how I learn the most. I watch better players and I just try to copy what they do and understand why they do it, right? So it's not just like copying, but it's understanding what they're doing too. Okay, alright. So that's the main thing that I wanted to show. Do you have any questions about everything so far? You guys like all good understanding? So that's like the three things I wanted to show. Alright, so now like going on to this VOD, I wanted to talk about team comps and talk about how people understand the game and stuff. Okay, so this is a game between Blake Esports and Mega, right? So we know that Mega are running Dive with Sombra J-Rat, and Blake Esports are running Double Tank Comp with Sombra Reaper, right? Yeah, what's up? What's up, Quantum? What's up? Alright, so what the main thing that teams need to be thinking about when they run any comp, even Dive, like these guys are running Dive, right? Hang on, that's fucking big. I haven't used this, hold up. Yeah, alright. So these guys are running Dive, right? Uh These guys are running dive. They're running Mr. Diva, but they're running Lucio Moira as well, and then Jrat Sombra. So the main thing I wanted to point out is the groups that they play in, right? So in every dive comp, there's a certain group that you play in, right? So you either play Winston Tracer in their backline where you put your Diva in the back protecting the healers, or you could do everyone, like literally a 6-man dive like they're doing right now. Like you could see like all 6 of them together, right? But we'll just see how this plays out and we'll try to understand why they do what they do, okay? So I'll just suss it out. Hold up. Alright. So alright. So even if this is smashing, like we just want to understand like what they do, right? So they're running dive, they go push main. Alright, now in terms of comms, like the comm probably is okay, they're running double tank. Now the ideal thing, what I'm using, Epic Pen. So the first thing like you have to point out is where they're going and what the comms would be like. So they're coming here with dive, they have Jrat Sombra. Now we know that Sombra is good for getting around the back and hacking, and that's what the dive is usually over. Like you don't like really you wouldn't put like it's not like Winston Tracer where the Winston jumps up down here and then like the Tracer follows, right? It's not gonna work like that. They have a Sombra, right? So it's gonna be a bit different. Sombra's probably gonna be playing around the back, and look for a hack. And then the J-Rat's gonna be here with the tanks, winning the tank fight. Now, that's what's supposed to happen if they were running dive, but because they're running Ryan Zarya, it's going to be interesting whether they do win the actual whether they actually do win the tank fight. Now, in terms of healers, they're both running Lucio Moira, so Lucio Moira is really good for healing the tanks and keeping the tanks up. So it's pretty even fight in terms of the tanks, but in terms of DPS, we have Reaper Sombra and Jrat Sombra. So debatably, I don't know, like Reaper and Jrat output the same amount of damage. I think obviously not by statistics, but you know when you want to talk about it, you could say that J-Rat's like more. Well, they're both really close range. I don't know. It's debatable which one outputs more damage. But anyway, we'll just watch over and we'll see what they do and we'll talk about why they do it. All right. So okay. All right. So we know Huss just got a hack on the Junkrat. And okay, so now what Blank do here is pretty important. What Blank do here is very important. They back off here. They actually just walk back from that space here, which is like one entrance of the point. And I'll explain to you why they do that, right? So in terms of the comms, they'd be like, oh, okay, they have a J-Rat, we'd back off. But at the same time, like you'd have to debate whether that's the right thing to do because you have Hui, right? And Hui is like a world-class Zarya player, so you'd want him 100 charge, so you would be pushing up here, right? In my opinion. But they choose to back off. And there's another reason why they back off, and we'll see it now. Um, so they back off here. Now, okay, also important to note, Huss doesn't go off to a health pack. I don't even think Huss has hacked a health pack at this point. He's literally just playing with his tank. He's going to stand behind the Rhine shield and he's going to go for a hack. And then they're going to go off that, right? But they can't really go off that because like they don't have a dive. But they're going to like, push up and get Hu charge, right? Okay. So, alright, so we'll just do the rest of this fight and then I'll explain to you why we talk about things that we're talking about, right? So we know they back off, right? Now, the reason they back off, I'll show you why. Because here they're contesting the J right here, right? Now, who is probably getting a lot of charge, etc., etc. Now, we don't find out now, but we know who is on 100 charge right now, right? Because I've watched the rest of the VOD. So, obviously, who is on 100 charge, he's trying to bait them onto the point because the tank's obviously going to fight better on the point because you have Ryan Zarya, Sombra Reaper. Now, yeah, they have a J rat, but they don't have Ryan Zarya. Sorry? Oh, you want me to let the fight run? Okay. Well, yeah, like it's just important to know what they're thinking and what they're doing, right? Because you can implement it into your game. So they were obviously at this line here, right? They were chilling here. They were getting zoned off by the J-Rat, so they back off and they want them to fight on the point. Yeah, they want them to fight on the point because it's better for them. They have a J-Rat and a Sombra. Now, Reaper and a Sombra, sorry. And like why they back up to here and they don't just back off like just to here or whatever is because they can cover all flanks, right? They can cover this flank, they can cover this flank, and then they obviously have this entrance here. So that's really smart of them, right? Because then the J-Rat can't go around and try to get a one shot on Moira, Lucio, or whatever, right? Anyway, so let's continue the fight and we'll see what happens. Alright, so we know who is on 100 charge right now, so they could just push in like charge grab here, like Okay. So I think that's a misplay from Mega. The fact that they didn't touch the point. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I got you, Quantum. Um, the reason they didn't touch the point is obviously because they have Ryan Zarya, but in this situation, they are the reactive team, right? Because obviously proactive means that they're controlling the situation, and that's Blank Esports, right? Blank controlled the point and were put them into the reactive state. Because now that they have the point, what are they going to do to get back the point? Then none of them have died. The only real thing that's happened so far is that one, who has got 100 charge, and two, J-Rat got hacked, right? That's the two things that has happened. So really, Mega actually have a chance to come back into this, right? But the main thing I wanted to point out from here, just that little fight there, is that these teams, right? It's important to know, okay, for teams, is there's proactive and reactive states, okay? So this is like one of the most important things in scrims, I believe, and in like team play, whatever. Sorry for moving it. Alright, so proactive, meaning the person creating or controlling a situation, right? So it's the person that makes the first move. So in that case, it's Blank East, like I explained, like because it's Blank Esports because they capped the point, right? And then you have the other team, which is the reactive, right? Because they react to what's going on. They react to what the other team's doing, right? You always want to be in the proactive state, okay? Because being in the proactive state means you run the show, right? You choose what goes on during the fights. You're basically it, right? Um, you're like because Blank are able to cap the point now. They know that anything they do past that point of capping the point is going towards winning the game, right? So but anything what's it called? Mega do at that point. Anything Mega do to that point from that point on is to get back on the point, right? So for um the resources for Blank that are being used are for keeping the point, whereas in Mega is for capping the point. Now, the reason why this is important is because again, Blank are in the proactive state and Mega are in the reactive state. And it's very important because right now we know that Huu, right, world class Zarya player, right, he's 100 charge. Now, Huu is their win condition. I'll talk about win conditions a bit later, but who is their win condition, right? Now, who is 100 charge, meaning he's probably gonna like I'm not gonna like. You could just tell from the way this fight's going. They've backed off. They've capped the point. Now Mega could have a reaction here, but it's gonna be a bad reaction. It would be some Winston jumping in alone. It'll be something because they don't have anything right now that's gonna help them get back onto the point right now. So really, what should happen, in my opinion, is that Lucio Moira, who should all of them, they all move up together as six, and they push into him and they farm who is Graph. Okay, but we'll see what happens. All right, let's suss it out. So that's the first thing. So the proactive and reactive states is the most important thing I wanted to get through. So yeah, so who pushes up 100 charge? Yeah, so we'll just watch it out. See how, see how like, see how important the proactive state is. The fact that, Blanker in the proactive state made the J-Rat. If you saw that, like, just go back a bit so you can see it properly. If you saw the J-Rat, he's trying to make a different play because obviously they have the point right now, so it's gonna force them to make stupid plays like this. Like this was a bad play clearly from the J-Rat. Like look where he ends up, right? So it's him here. So like that's what's being put in the reactive state does to your team because you have to try force a play, right? That's the main point. Okay, so IAU up gets picked. I'm not sure why. I think that was just a misplay from IAU up. But who has Grav right now? Sue uses Grav. Now, you see how like everything's just falling. Like Blank don't feel hesitant at all. They lost their Reaper, right? But they're still in the proactive state. They're still controlling the situation. Um, now, yeah. So all they had to do was use Grav. Although it was a big ult, they have Sombra, right? So they're gonna have EMP for next fight. Okay. So to talk about that, like why they use grav and stuff, is because it's called a win condition, alright? So win conditions are very important in team play, okay? So a win condition, so we'll just go back to the document. So a win condition is your way to get back into the proactive state. Also, when you're in the proactive state, you need to play for your win condition, right? Now, your win condition is usually, well, obviously in this 3 tank meta here, it's gonna be Huu, because he has grab. It's gonna be the EMP. It's gonna be the way you win the fight, right? That's the most basic way. So like win condition is the way you're going to win the fight in the most basic form. But we know that in dive comp, if we're running like Div Winston, Tracer, Genji, we know Genji's always going to be the win condition because like at the start of the fight, Genji's going to be charging the blade, whatever. The blade's going to be what's going to win you the fight. So you need to play to your win condition. Whether that means positioning in a way where Genji can get kills, helping your Genji get resets, pocketing your Genji, stuff like that, right? That's playing to your win condition. Now, the way that Blank do this, right, is if you watch it like very closely. Now they back off here. They don't back off because they've won the point, etc., etc. They back off because they want them to fight on the point. That's another one of their win conditions. If they fight on the point, Blank win it, right? So that's their win condition. So they know. So they back off. Now this is a misplay from IU up here. He shouldn't have been there unless he got trapped by a J-Rat. That's like the only thing I could assume, but I don't know what happened. So anyway, so they push back on. Now they're forced to push back on. Keep in mind, Blank have percentage. So right now they're trying to get back onto the point. Who has Grav? Now Huss got picked, so that's 2 DPS down, so it's fine for him to use Grav here. And look, everyone's focusing the same targets, and Moira's ult is always on Hui because Hui is the win condition. Hui has 100 charge, and Hui is going to be their main damage source after the 2 DPS die, of course. And then yeah, so they just clean up the fight, whatever. Yeah, so that's like that comes down to like knowing the strengths and weaknesses of the team comp as well. Like they knew fighting on the point was good for them because they're playing the tanks, they're playing Lucio Moira, they're playing J-Rat, Sombra, etc., etc. Reaper Sombra. So now like you go into the planning phase with this game, right? So they know they've just won the first fight. So if we talk about ults popped, pretty big ults. So we had Tang use his Moira ult, but he's 60 on it already. We had Hu use his Grav. Now the win condition for Blank will be different to what the win condition was prior when Hu did have Grab. The win condition right now is to EMP them and not use any other ult because the EMP is obviously going to wipe all their ults, so it doesn't really matter what ult condition they have. If Huss gets a good EMP on at least like say 4 players, that's enough to win the fight without using ults. Now, say that fails, they have another win condition which is Shul's Reinhardt ult, right? So, but really, like if you think about it, what they do from this point on is extending their proactive state, right? Because right now they're still in the proactive state. They've capped the point. Now, Mega have to come back. So what they do from here is just extending their proactive state. So let's see how they do it specifically. So I believe, I've watched this VOD, but I don't really remember. I believe Hush should go for an EMP here. Like this will be the right play. Hush should go for an EMP here. Only use EMP, and then everyone just speed boosts on. And because they have Brian Zara, they just walk on with Reaper and shit. So, alright, suss it out. Don't be afraid to ask questions during everything. So, alright. Yeah, so okay. So EMP had like 4. They've used EMP as well, so there goes Mega's win condition as well. Alright. No other ults have been used, it's just EMP so far. Alright, you up got picked again. I'm not sure what's going on there. It's just something to know. I don't know why. He's not like if you're getting picked like that, you're probably not playing to your win condition because he's either going on a flank trying to make his own plays or he's not playing to like the win condition there is they're gonna get EMP'd. So if he goes here and he speed boosts here, he would have been fine. I don't know where IU up died and it's not really that big of a deal, but it's just important that all 60 of your players know what your win condition is so you could all play to it, right? Okay. So yeah, so to talk about ults, so like if you're in a team like if you're Blink right now, you'd be talking about what ults do they use. I'm not gonna talk about Brigitte, man. I literally know nothing about her. I'm just talking about dive meta and how to comm in team play, man. I'm so sorry. I literally know nothing about Brigitte. Okay, so basically, Blink, like from extending that proactive state the whole game, they're in charge, right? So they've used EMP, they used Grav earlier, but they have it up again, and they're gonna have Coalesce again, okay? So really, they've only used 2 big ults. Like the Moira ult was big, but it was something to do just on extra because of Huss and IU up getting picked. Um, so they really didn't have to use Coalesce, but they did just to confirm the fight. So they used Coalesce and Grav that one time, and then now they've only used EMP, and they're gonna have all these ults charging up. Now, on the other hand, Mega have to use their resources to get back onto the point. What they did, they still charging Tyre from last fight. They've used EMP after 4 of the players were EMP'd, and I'm pretty sure it was these 4, it was around these 4. I know the Winston Diva, I know the Lucy, I'm pretty sure the Moira got it as well. They were all hacked. So this is like bad for Mega because they don't really know their win condition. And when they're in the reactive state, what you need to do is very crisp and fast. Like so the comms from Mega should be like, okay, well, we know they're in charge, we know they're gonna have grab, we know they're gonna have this, etc., etc. As soon as that EMP came out from Haas, it should have just been a reset. It's 73%. They have one more fight, but it's better than just going in with nothing. Anyway, so they've obviously won the fight with EMP. We'll see what happens from here on though. Alright, so they're still like okay, so they're still going and okay. So this is the next fight, right? Just to go back a bit so we can understand what happened after that fight. So they wipe the point here. They know Diva has bomb because thing hacked it. Sorry if I'm a bit sick. Alright, so Oputa's going around the back, probably looking for a hack on the Moira Lucio to go for the dive. Now, see, this is my problem with like a lot of teams that aren't in contenders do the shit that Mega's doing right now, and it's not knowing their win condition, not knowing what to do. Like, if Aputo knew that they were going to use EMP to win the fight, and obviously knowing that everyone's EMP'd, so they can't follow up on his EMP, he wouldn't have EMP'd. But like, there's a problem with comms there if Aputo's EMPing like 1v4 basically, right? Because 4 of his players are already EMP'd, so it's gonna be a problem for the rest of the team to follow up on it. In terms of blank, now obviously it's 73%, right? So they have about what 2 fights, and if they can extend this fight, it'll be like 1 fight only. Okay, so now as I said, they used EMP, but they have these 2 win conditions, and they also have these are all 3 really big win conditions. That they could use. They could say, okay, our win condition is getting grab, our win condition is getting right, etc., etc. Now, obviously, who is going to use ult here because he's the next win condition because they use hustle and who he charges next as fast, and then I assume Trill will, and then Tung will use his, and then they'll save beat and Reaper ult for the end. That's what I assume. But we'll see how this fight goes on. So the problem with Mega here is that they don't actually do anything. They just sit in the main. Like, what is like you have to always think about when you're playing the game. Like, like, why do we position here? And what's the point of it? Why do, why do Mega go here? That's the thing, right? Like, you'd say that they have a hard dive, like, because obviously if you're gonna dive more Lucio, the Reaper's there. If you're gonna dive the tank, Sombra's there, etc. But that's like that's not an excuse for just standing there, right? They don't really know what they're doing. Even though they're down on ults, they still need to do something, right? So the comms are a massive issue here for Mega, in my opinion. Alright, so they walk up main. Aputo's around the back. I guess they're waiting for Aputo's hack or something. Anyway, they should have known who had Grav. They're just gonna go into this. Okay, so they use B. Okay, they used a lot of ults. Probably because the fight's extended now, and it's 90%, so it's safe. They still have Moira and Reaper ult, so they did leave a support ulti for the Reaper ult if anything goes wrong. Uh, so yeah. So just wanted to talk about this game specifically because of how the proactive state from the start to finish was so important for Blank to just win the game, and how it forced Mega to play a certain way and like play to what Blank wanted them to play to. They couldn't play to their own win condition. They had to play to what Blank wanted them to do. And that's really what proactive state and reactive state is all about, right? That's why a lot of contenders teams they lack this problem. They have this problem. They don't really know what their like win condition is. They don't know what their comp does. They don't know what their role is. Stuff like that. So the 3 main things I wanted to talk about from this game are the proactive state and the reactive state. Like I'll go on about it like non-stop. But so if you're in Mega's position, right, at this like point, what I assume you do is like if you're playing dive, you have to think about the strengths and weaknesses of your comp in comparison to their comp. Okay, so we'll talk about it. Now, these guys have literally no one that could dive except the Sombra. Okay, so that's the first thing I think about. I think about, you know what? My team has Diva, Winston, Sombra, who could just all jump in and like shit on anyone, right? Whereas in these guys, they only have Sombra. They don't really have anything to jump in per se, right? But what they do have is speed boost, and they can walk as a 6-man unit onto people, right? But it's still not as much utility as Speed Boost, Diva Shift, Winston Shift, Sombra, E, etc. Right? So it's not as much utility. So we know this is a slow comp. This is a fast comp. The dive is fast comp. Okay, cool. So what do you do with that information? Is you play around them. So you use your utility to play around them. So what I assume is you'd put a Sombra here, you put a J-Rat here, then you put the tanks through the other side, and you just make them decide which way they want to go. They go for the J-Rat, the tanks dive in with Sombra. If they go for the Sombra, they dive in with the tanks, etc. Right? Do you get what I mean? There's so many ways. Well, it's a very hard comp, in my opinion. If I was in Mega's position, I would have just swapped off. I wouldn't have played dive against this, especially J-Rat Sombra. Like it's not it's not that ideal of a combo. The win condition is EMP and JRAT ult. That's really all I could think about. Like, how else do you win the game, right? Like, that's like the biggest problem. Anyway, so yeah, so that's why Megas played this so wrong, is because they didn't identify any win condition. They kept looking, maybe waiting for Aputo's hack. That's the only reason I can understand them just standing here on repeat and not doing anything. Um, but yeah, like the good thing about Blank is when you watch them, you know exactly what they're trying to do. You know their win condition. Everyone, like I know Huss and you up fucked up this like these rounds, but everyone knows what's going on. Like everyone knows what the win condition is. They know why they're doing this, and they know how they're gonna do it and when. Of course, right? It's always important when to. So that's really important. Alright, so terms of all of this, why I explained it to you guys is because this can be like what Blank did is probably really hard to like control your ults that well. Even though they popped a lot of ults at the end, because there was probably a call from like Kura, fuck knows what, like saying, this is the last fight we could use our ults, whatever. Just spoiler it. But they held their ults. They had enough ults to just hold them and chill. They had enough win conditions. They fulfilled their win condition. They were fine. Now, how people implement this into their gameplay is like in terms of comms is what I want to talk about. So, okay. So we'll talk about this. All right. So knowing your strengths and weaknesses in team comp. So when you look at strengths and weaknesses in team comps, you're gonna look at dive and you're gonna say, okay, what's our strength? Well, we could send the Winston Tracer to their backline, and we could send the Diva to peel. But what if we run into, I don't know, like a spam comp? How are we gonna dive into spam? Oh, we have more utility than spam. Like kind of like with tank comp, we have more utility than spam, so we could just walk around them, right? We could like, put circles around them and shit. Um, so yeah, so that's important. Knowing your strengths and weaknesses, knowing exactly what role you have in the team. I can't stress this enough. This is so important. Okay, so I'll just pull up like I'll probably pull up like contenders Vod, right, to help out a bit. 2 seconds. I'll probably pull up a contenders Vod. Uh, any contenders Vod, and we'll talk about team comps. So, would you prefer the main tank or the Lucio Mercy in a dive comp? What the fuck does that mean? You want a main tank as well? Wait, what? Would you prefer the main tank or the Lucio Mercy in the dive comp? Okay, first off, you always need a main tank. I'm pretty sure, if that's what you're asking. And Lucio Zen is good in dive comp right now. I think it's the most ideal. Not with Brigetta, by the way. I'm just talking in general. Um, what's it called? Oh, it's a shot call. Okay, it's a shot call. Okay, so in terms of comm structure, this is my ideal world, and this is how I think a lot of players, like from the higher up scenes, think about it, right? So this is how I think it should be. This is how I think it should be. Okay. Yeah. What's up? Okay. So so we're gonna talk about this. So, what are we talking about? Okay, so comm structures. Okay, now this is what I believe the most ideal comm structure is. It might be different for everyone, but this is how I think. Okay, so the healers, right? Let's make sure you guys can see this. Yeah, so the healers are gonna be comming. So we'll say there's Lucio Zen, alright, and I'll tell you exactly what they're gonna come. The Lucio will come direction, and he'll track ults. Okay, he'll track ults. That's the ideal thing for the Lucio. The Zen, he will call strats, and he'll talk about like and strats in regards to how to counter their ult and how to use their own ults, right? That's like the main things that Zens could call. Alright, and then the Diva calls people out of position. What else does Diva call? Diva calls Diva calls like pulse bombers a lot, right? Like Diva's always cool when the tracer has pulse bomb and stuff, because that's something they can track. Now the Winston, now this is where the Winston and the Tracer come in handy. Okay, so we'll talk a little bit about Winston and Tracer in dive comp. So Winston and Tracer work together as a duet in dive comp. So the Winston calls, so they call the dive, so where they want to dive. So let's say the dive is then back right, whatever. So it calls dive, and the tracer just follows. That's literally it. That's why dive comp is like, because if the core heart of it is Winston Tracer, right? You have to imagine that it's literally that fucking easy. The Winston jumps in the back, and the tracer's waiting behind for the Winston to jump. Obviously, that person's gonna be knocked up, and the tracer just has to hit a clip, right? So might look at this game. I haven't watched this, so I don't know, but we'll just suss it out. So I don't know what the fuck they're doing here, but see how the Winston jumps, right? Alright, we'll see what the tracer is. Alright, it's just pressuring it. Also, this is a good idea of what to do against tanks. They knew they were going to run tanks, so they're just running circles around them, charging their ults until they get an ult. Yeah, Moira dies. But yeah, you can still see that. When should D.Va be peeling? So, in terms of D.Va, there's two things with D.Va. So there's one, you're either going to be peeling for your team, or two, you're going to be matrixing your Winston. That's the two main things you're going to be doing. Now, uh, in terms of knowing what to do on D.Va, it's actually not your job as the D.Va. Now, this is like something that a lot of teams don't actually know about, but it's actually not your job as the D.Va to know where you're supposed to be. It's your team's job to know the strategy, right? Okay, so we'll just talk about this team comp as an example. So let's say the call here, right? So let's say this is Zen Lucio for an example, okay? Um, let's say uh the call would be dive the Zen, right? Now the call has to be pretty explicit because we want to know where the Zen is to know if he's far enough that they're gonna dive our backline and we're gonna go all in on that dive, or we're gonna stay back and we're gonna support. So the two groups that will be played then will be the D.Va. Oh god, my fucking drawing is atrocious. Give me a sec. So it'll be the D.Va with the healers, right? And then it'll be the Winston Tracer in their backline. And that forces the team, right, to choose to sacrifice their Zenyatta, or go back and help with the Winston and the Tracer, right? Now, in terms of what they do and if it's right or whatever, that's actually up to the situation. Sometimes it's right to peel back, sometimes it's not right. Sometimes you could even dive as like a 5-man unit and leave your Zen in like in terms of this point. I'll show you where you leave your Zen, right? So wait, hang on, just go back a bit. Sometimes it's okay to do this. So let's say you guys are playing attack, right? And you're playing Zen Lucio. Sometimes what you could do is literally leave your Zen here, and then Winston D.Va just dive straight through main with the Lucio, and like you just go hard on whoever's in the back here at the back of the point. That's literally what you could do, because if they commit more than one person on here, your team wins the fight. It's all about groups. Literally everything is about groups. Like it's the most important part. Okay, so I'll just answer some questions. Yeah, so D.Va should be peeling in terms of the groups when the groups are like to her favor. So if you agree that you're gonna full dive, then all of these people will be diving, right? If that's a Zen, the Zen will probably stay back, or he go with them. I don't know, but the Zen's probably not even in this. So like, if you're diving as a 4-man unit, you go with the thing. If you're not diving as a 4-man unit and you know your healers are gonna be dived, you have to let your monkey know that you're not gonna be with them. You have to coordinate your monkey tracer dive, and your D.Va goes with the healers. Okay. Does that kind of explain? It's very situational, so I can't tell you when to do it and when not to do it. It's very, very situational, but it's all about groups. It's all about 2-4 and 4-2. Most important groups in the game. So, yeah, so let's read. How can Winston Tracer solely dive if D.Va's with the other 4? So the Winston Tracer. Alright. Let me show you some content. Alright, this is why I believe like a lot of people just don't suss content, okay? So, alright, you gotta suss this. Okay. Now, this is like the biggest thing about dive, and the Koreans thought of it before anyone, alright? So, show you guys what I mean, alright? So, this is a game between GC Busan and Lunatic High. Lunatic High are now known as Seoul Dynasty, and GC Busan is London Spitfire, right? Okay. So, alright. Now, we're gonna talk about this. This is really fucking good, and it's just like perfect. Alright, so we know the Zen's here, yeah? The Zen's gonna end up here. Now, Jisoo Busan are pretty behind in ults. I'm kind of robbing this guy of his content because he did that, but whatever. I'll just teach you guys. So Jisoo Busan are very behind in ults. You could tell they might have trance, they're gonna have pulse bomb, but they don't have Creole, and that's like really important because Creole's always the important. And then here they have their win conditions. They could literally just wipe the point with just B and get Geo, and they have trance if need be. Okay, now look what fucking Prophet and Gesture do. This is some like high tier Korean gameplay. Look where the rest of their team is. Okay, all right, suss that. So we'll talk about groups. Okay, so we have Gesture here, and where's the Tracer? Prophet should be, yeah, Prophet's around the back here. That's Prophet. Okay, probably can't see him properly, but that's Prophet. We'll just hang on. That's Prophet. Trying to. Okay, so that's Prophet right there. You see him there? Right there. Right, that's Prophet. So, we know that's Prophet, and we know that's thing. Now look where the rest of the team is. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then there's these two guys. Okay. let's see what they achieve with the two-man dive while their team is literally not even in the game. Okay, let's talk about this. This is like the most important part of dive in like the whole game. All right, so let's suss this out. So Gesture's coming in. He's got orb on him. That's the only thing to keep him alive. And Prophet's coming from the back. All right, Prophet's coming from control room. Now take a look at what happens. Bang. Tracer's behind, ready. Gestures jumped all the way from here, past his whole team. Diva's in the back. Diva's not even in the fight, bro. If you want to ask when Diva's going to peel, never. Look at her. She's not even doing anything. So, Winston's in the front, Tracer's in the back. They might lose this fight, but you best believe UJ Hong will pop Trance here. And it'll be the best popped of, like, it'll be the best ult, like, they could ever got out of this push. Because they weren't supposed to get any ults out of this push, but they did it. And did Prophet even use? Prophet didn't even use Pulse Bomb, man. Like, this is huge. So, Gesture lands straight away on the Zenyatta. You ask how the two-man dive happens. Zen's already half just from Winston, and the Prophet's gonna come from behind and fuck him up. Watch. Alright, look. Bang. B already popped. The fight's still going. The team hasn't even been in. They've popped B, and the other team, like, GC Busan is still at spawn, man. Like, this is huge, right? Now look at what happens. So the fight keeps going on. Alright, and then obviously they're gonna lose the fight. Yeah, and Yu Jae Hong dies, okay? Now, like, it's a bad example because obviously they died, but it's big because they just popped both support ultis and what's it called? They popped both support they popped support Lucio ult and they had no ult, so it puts them back into the win condition for when they have Noon and whatever, like any other ults they had, right? But that's the main thing. So that's the two groups you play in 2-4 usually, right? In dive. Jisoo Busan are actually famous for this. This gesture profit shit has like they've actually invented the Winston Tracer thing. It's so big. So we'll talk about like when they do here too. Um, just like another example. Okay. So gesture's in the back. Yeah, see? Gesture and profit, like you can barely see it because this guy doesn't know how to record. Oh, this is actually spectate from observers. Okay. So look at literally okay. Take a look at where GC Busan are and how they get to there. This is where gesture is right now. Look where he ends up instantly, and look where Prophet is as well. Watch it. Bang! He jumps literally across the fucking map, man, on this Zenyatta. That's how good their comms are. He knew that if he landed on this Zenyatta, Prophet will be right behind him. 100%. Yeah, they use one support ulti, sorry. Yeah. But yeah, so like this is it, right? That's all the dive needs, really. Like it doesn't even need a fucking Genji half the time. The Genji can be there, but he doesn't need to be there. The Winston trace is enough. So that's really important to talk about dives. So now that they've got the wins, like they literally went for a 2v4 in terms of groups. They went for a 2v4, or like yeah, basically 2v4, and UJ Hong still died. That's not because the Diva was wrong in peeling. What's he gonna do? He can't peel against a Winston and a Tracer, right? It's not enough. The Winston Tracer dive so like it's just so like important in every single game, every single dive comp. Anyway. Yeah, so that's the groups in the Winston Tracer dive, which is really important. And every team, if you want to talk about comms, they should actually know. But how can you stay alive 2v6 Winston Tracer dive? So the Winston Tracer dive, and obviously your team's in the back fending off. So there's two things the other team could do. Yeah, okay, yeah, I get what you mean. So there's two things the other team could do. They could either all go back and peel, or they'll counter dive. Now the counter dive will be your Zen here with your Diva or whatever. So let's just say this is your backline here, these three. This is your backline. And then you're here and you guys are diving like really, really deep. Let's say you're at their spawn, right? Um actually I'll get up a audio file. Hold up, 2 seconds. Not an audio file, fucking overhead thing. We'll suss this out. Hold up. Okay, this is perfect, yeah. Um is this good? Yeah, okay, this is good. Alright, so this is what the fuck's the map called? I've got the map's name. What's the map called, guys? I've lost it. I'm really sick. Leave me alone. It's Dorado, isn't it? Isn't this Dorado? Yeah, Dorado. Okay. Alright, so the main thing is, alright, so you want to talk about groups. So let's say your Winston, your Diva's here. Yeah, it says right there at the bottom left. Thank you. It's Dorado, yeah. I'm a bit retarded. Okay, let's say your Winston and Tracer are playing here, okay? And their backline's all the way down here. Yeah, so their backline's all the way down here, okay? Now, what the important thing is that if you know you're going to dive, right? You know you're gonna dive past everything, so this is gonna be their front line, and then that's their backline with the circle, right? So backline and front line, right? Okay, so if you're Winston Tracer, do some sneaky shit, and they stand here, and your Tracer goes obviously up here, up the stairs or whatever. Okay, and they go on the Zenyatta here. Now, in terms of what the other team does, is actually very dependent in the situation in terms of ults, in terms of positioning, in terms of cooldowns, in terms of everything, right? Okay, now your team's pushing the cart. Let's say your Diva, your Zenyatta, your Lucio, and your Genji's like, I don't know, fucking around with the tanks here or something, right? Um, that's what's happening right now. And your Winston Tracer get the kill on the Zenyatta. The other team can either A, go back on the Winston Tracer, but they'll get the Winston, they probably won't get the Tracer. Or C, they dive your team, and you guys have to keep like continue the dive. So you kill the Zenyatta, you keep going on the Lucio. You kill the Lucio, you keep going on the tanks, and that's like really just comes in terms of what the situation is with the game, right? Does that help answer? So like if your Winston Diva were here, right, and your Zenyatta just died back here, the Lucios will either A, speed boost everyone into you guys, or B, he'll speed boost everyone onto the cart and kill everyone. That's like the main thing. Do you guys get what I mean? Kind of help you out a bit. Who asked that question? Oh yeah, so you asked like how like who would die? Yeah, so that's what they could do. They could either dive the cart or they peel back and kill the Winston. One of those two. All right. Is there a way to stay alive? Like, what do you mean by that? So the Winston Tracer are diving, dude. You have to think about it. The Zenyatta's their main source of the other team's healing. Once their Zenyatta's down, your team can start to push up. Your team could shift from cart. Should you just disengage after first pick? It's situational, man. I can't tell you, but let's say the Zen Lucio here, the Zen died, and the Lucio pop B. Obviously, they back off, but you reinitiate. So, like, let's say your Winston's here, like the Winston's here. The Zenyatta dies, the Winston falls off here, the Tracer goes down the stairs. You wait for the cut to push up here, and then obviously you dive all together, and you do like a funnel thing. So your Winston comes from behind here, your Diva comes from in front, etc. Should you just disengage off it? Yeah, so that explains it, if you know what I mean. I hope that helps, because like I can't really tell you if you disengage after first pick. Sometimes after first pick, it's really big. Like a pick on a Zenyatta, like I'm pretty sure everyone on cart will start jumping to the high ground. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So that explains groups. That's pretty important. Now, how to put images into visor? Okay, hang on. So if you go here, add static image, it shows the things. Uh, Static image is like right under the colors. Alright, cool. So now, what deciphers a lot of contenders teams from the open teams? I don't know if I said that right because I'm pretty sure contenders team come from open. But anyway, what deciphers a lot of the teams from the bottom, from the top, is a lot of win conditions. A lot of teams like Darksided are probably the most composed and like collected team there is. Like the way they play, they know their win condition 100%. We could look at an OS game if you guys want. Like, what do you guys feel like? Do you guys feel like watching an OS game, or do you want me to go on about like how you could play to your win condition and how comms work? Like, what are you guys interested in? Because I don't know. There's a lot of stuff to it. There's not only one thing. Yeah, that's true. So like if when I was playing on Serenity, once the pick was there, we all said go. Yeah, because sometimes in that situation it's really good to go. Um, I mean we can peep like an Earth game. A lot of people told me not to because like the OC contenders in comparison to NA and all the rest are not as high leveled. And as I said, you want to learn the game as best as it can be played to the best of its ability. So when you're playing, you know, right? You know what you're doing. You know like how the game's supposed to be played. So talk about here. Ryan Zarya, Lucio Moira, Diva, Tracer. So they're running Tracer as main source and DPS with Zarya. And Blake Blue are running straight dive with Ana Zen though, so no Lucio. Okay. Uh, talk a bit about what deciphers Jam from Blank Blue in this situation. I don't even know if they win this map. This is probably a bad map, but we'll see. Maybe Blank Blue makes some mistakes. Let's just suss it out. Alright. So now knowing about win conditions, strengths, weaknesses, groups, we could talk about what they do. Because this is basically Mega versus Blank in this situation because they're playing tanks and they're playing dive, and they need to find out how they're gonna dive without just getting straight picked and just fucking up like that, right? Um, that's like so we're gonna see how Blank Blue pull it off because Blank Blue they're like a one-trick dive team. That's literally a lot of what they play. They only play dive because Micro very efficient on the Genji. Adam plays a lot of Diva Gob. Yeah, this is very efficient. Alright, so let's suss it out. So Jam Gaming take the left side. Uh, so yeah, so these guys are just poking for ult. Sleep Easy gets picked off. Pretty bad on Sleep Easy. Probably means he popped his fade early coming in, which means they knew that and they like went on it. In terms of groups, there were only 3 of them. Look, Winston, Diva, Genji. I don't know what Sign's doing, but yeah, that's like the groups that they're playing in right now. And yeah, they can push on now because you see, like this is the thing. This is it, right? This is what the Cypher seems. So Jam think they have only lost one person. Little do they know that one person is the Moira, who is your main source of healing, which is your win condition. Like in terms of early fights, you obviously want to get more healed, and because it's a tank based comp, the Moira is going to be very important to keep your tanks alive. So once this guy's down, it really just comes to okay, let's dive Lucio or Diva when she's out of Matrix, etc., or Zarya when she has no self. All really easy dive targets. Blank Blue know this. Like, look how fucking look how quickly they adapt on this. So we'll just take a look how Sleep Easy got picked anyway. So I'm assuming yeah. See, he used fade. You just saw it there. Moira used fade there. Uh, kind of just see it. Yeah, see like that little thing. Anyway, yeah. So Moira just used fade. Yeah. Uh, Moira just used fade. They know this. Adam and Anna get it. So I guess fuck knows how Frogger hit that shot, but he probably got antied, maybe a long range anti. But yeah. And then now they know the Moira's down. Goes down, puts his shield down. Who are they focusing? So they're focusing the Lucio instantly. Where the fuck is Frogger shooting from? How's Frogger getting all these hits? Anyone know where this Frogger is? I have literally no idea where Frogger is. He's literally like fragging out there, so I don't know what the fuck he is. Let's see. He's probably playing somewhere dumb, maybe. Wait, is Frogger up there? Or is that Micro? I thought Frogger was up there. Okay, yeah, that's Micro. I was gonna say, fuck did the man get up there? What? Where is he? We do need to see Frogger. The Zen's there, so where's Anna? Okay, I have no fucking idea where Frogger is, but he's literally killing everything. Like, look at this. So he helps with the Moira kill first, then they move his unit with the Lucio into the team. Probably a bad call from Jam here. They could have just backed off, really, because they lost their Moira and speed boost as well, so they could have got out easily. Now, where the fuck is Frogger? Yeah, see, I don't know, but Frogger and Zenyatta all focus Prowler, the Lucio player, which is the first target. Crimson Wolf loses mech, and then that's it. It's a shit show. Maybe we can see what the Ana is here, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, it's like usually you wouldn't have an Ana doing that much damage, but that was like basically a 3-on-6, a 3-on-5 after Moira was down. It was 3-on-6 when Moira was up, and then thing. But the main thing is they stayed in LOS. Like, oh, Frogger's here. So they stayed in LOS. Blank are really smart with their dives because there's Ana and Zenyatta are playing back here, and Gob, Signed, and Micro all stand on here. You know why? Because they have LOS. That's why. They only go aggressive when they lose their Moira. So then they speak about importance here because if they're playing out of LOS of the Ana Zen, but they're kind of in LOS of Frog, because Frog is probably playing really really aggressive. That's how he got those shots up. But in terms of LOS, they don't have their Moira. They only have Lucio healing, so they could go out of LOS of their own healers and win the fight still because they don't have enough sustain. This whole team is based off the Moira sustaining them. Do you get what I mean? So like this is a situation where Blank Blue analyze the situation and they're like, "Fuck it, we're going in." Like I know a lot of the time you think to yourself, "Oh, you know, we got to pick. Let's go in." Well, right now they know they're thinking about it. Like it becomes instinctual in game is something I can say. Like you don't really think about it, but you know that if you're out of LOS and they don't have a Moira, then you don't need that healing, so it's fine to go to D. Anyway, continue on. That's like yeah. But it was really bad for Jam to go in there. They're just charging more of Micro's ult. And Micro is the win condition here. Micro with Nano Blade is the win condition. They probably won't even need Nano Blade, honestly. Alright, so it's really important what Blank are doing right now. So they're playing to their win, like not to their win condition, but to their composition strength. Like their composition strength is being able to hold doors and then get out, hold doors and then get out, hold doors and then get out. They're charging a lot of their ults. Like in terms of ults, they're like really, really up on them. Like look at this. Only person on Jam that has it is Atar, because Atar, World Cup player. Um, the Diva Bomb's coming out, doesn't really mean much. They've used the Coalesce. Yeah, the Coalesce is like broken. She shouldn't have had it. She died early in the fight. But they've used their Coalesce, and Gob already has ult. Gob has ult. Micro's close, and Frogger literally had used Nano on Micro to try to get his ult fast. And also, this is important. Like a lot of teams don't understand why people like a Nano early or they Winston ult early. It's because Micro is going to be close to ult, and his ult is actually their win condition. So even though Gob's down, if Micro gets a good ult here, they could transit if need be, but they're in the proactive state by doing this because at least it's something. And also, very important to note where they were standing, like their positioning. They know that they can't they can't dive onto picks. They only have a diva to dive, and if the diva goes out of Ryan Zarya LOS, then it's gonna be really bad. But what's it called? Um, they know that, so they play like, on these corners. They play in these little chokes. Look, Gob's shield is up. Everyone's just poking. Signed actually goes for a pulse bomb here, which was really important as well because Signed knows he could do it. Coming into the choke. So Sign's yeah. Sign's ready. Look, Sign's like, alright, I'm gonna go full story and watch. He goes for it. I think he gets shielded, but it doesn't matter. He still went for it. It's good. It's doing something in the proactive state because it's trying to extend your lead, right? Because you're in lead right now because they're pushing back in. You know your lead, so they're gonna use Sign Doll, try to pop the Ryan. Now they're forcing them into a choke. Now how Gob dies here is my problem. Gob should not. Yeah, Gob should not die here. That's I'd say it's a lack of Adam's peels, depending if Adam was in the backline peeling Atar. But I'm pretty sure Gob shouldn't have died there. That was like really bad from Gob. Or one of the other. It was either Adam not peeling and Gob thinking he was peeling, or Gob just playing overextended. Anyway, so Gob's down. Micro's gonna have ult here. He probably doesn't need to pop it. Oh, he does, okay, because they use Moira ult, so he's like, Yeah, so the trance was really bad. See, like, we talk about contenders team, like deciphering contenders team from teams like Jam. Like they make mistakes too. That was a super bad chance. Super bad. Think about it. Like there's literally no reason. This is Untitled play style, right? So no offense to him, but this is no reason to trans there because they've lost their win condition, which was their coalesce. They'll probably think, oh, I'll coalesce and walk into Gob, for example, which they did. They killed Gob. But anyway, they've used Pulse. Uh, Diva and Zarya down. It's like there's no point to trans unless I mean, okay, we could look at Untitled HP and speak about whether it was worth transing or whether he would have made it back. But it looks like he was full HP. If he stays full HP, it's fine. He shouldn't trans. Yeah, okay, so it's bad trans. Super bad trans. It's whatever. It was in the moment. Anyway. So yeah, so now the team Jam should be thinking. Well, now they're running some. Yeah, so now they're running hard dive. They literally just need to dive Zenyatta here. Like that's the main play. You put your Winston Tracer on Zenyatta because he's playing really far back, so he's not going to be able to get peeled for. And then you put your diva in the back to diva bomb the dive away. I reckon is my opinion. Okay, so they force themselves into a trade. Now this I don't understand. Like this is teams not knowing their win condition. Like what is the actual intention of going into this room as a dive comp? Like you have no spam. You have a tracer and a Genji. There is no reason. I can't understand. Like, do you guys get what I mean? This is why contenders teams like I don't know, it just doesn't make sense to me why you would do this. He's probably looking for a dive, right? But they're not running Lucio Moira, so the Zen's not going to be with them. The Zen's going to be in the back. So unless they're baiting the Zen dive on sleep, unless they're baiting the dive on sleep easy, which would be a good strat, it's decent, it's not too bad. Then they're just making a misplay here. But we'll see. We'll see how they play it. Because if they are doing that, they should get into this room and get out straight away, like literally instantly. Lucio should be there with speed boost. They should just straight go and unter. So we'll see. So Atar knows Unta's on the point. Gob's gotten sleep easy. Yeah, so yeah, they're waiting way too long. Like where Atar is now, that's it. They're in the reactive state and they're not even reacting at all. Like look where Atar is. If the comms were good there, they would have said, okay, Onta's on point. We're gonna go on him straight away. He has no chance. Like it's just, I don't know, man. Really bad. Really, really bad. But a lot of teams make this mistake. Like I say, it's really bad. But a lot of teams make this mistake. A lot of yous watching, I bet you your team make this mistakes and you don't know. Like you don't know that you're not playing to your win condition or not playing to your comp strength. Anyway, alright, continue on, and we'll just keep talking about the game and stuff. And then I'll take some questions. I'm taking questions anyway, so like if you guys have any questions, just ask. So they try to force themselves into this check again, get pressured out by Adam. Atar's in the back alone. Like, yeah. Look at this, like so slow on every single dive. Always in the reactive state, never in the proactive state. They had to use beat to just get out of the choke, but Sleepy Zoo is already down. Micros has used Blade. Have they only used Blade? Okay, well, both supports are down. Atar, like, look, when Atar kills 3 people, that's not your win condition, alright? That's just like pure skill. That's like when fucking Saya player kills 4 people on Florida Mayhem. It's not like Florida Mayhem planned for that. It just happened, right? Anyway, Atar just going fucking ham here. Atar literally killing the whole fucking team. But anyway, so yeah, okay. Alright. So in terms of importance into your team, so yeah, so we're talking about this. So Winston Tracer calls the dive. The D.Va calls people out of position and pulse bombs or other ults, whatever. Zen calls the strat, and Lucio calls direction and tracks ults. You have any other questions? Oh, fuck, that's right. The other DPS, or DPS in general, they call flankers if they see any flankers on the sides, because they'll probably see them before the D.Va. So they'll call flankers, and they'll call their ults, right? They'll call when they have blade, etc. Alright. So, make sure you guys, like, if you guys want to screenshot this, it'll probably help you. You can probably post it in your team chat, whatever. So yeah. World Cup carry? Yeah, basically. Whew. Any other questions before I go on with other things? Any other questions before I go on? I don't know what to go on with though. I think I've explained a lot. Like groups are really important. That's the thing, right? Knowing your groups and knowing when it's good to go in and when it's good to not go in, is very important. Yeah, so I explained comm structure, knowing exactly what role groups. Yeah, so that's like the 6 main things that you need to worry about. I'll post this on YouTube anyway, so you guys can suss this. Alright. How have I been streaming anyways? Uptime work? Fuck. Okay, it doesn't even work. Nightbot shit. Any questions at all? If not, I might end. I don't think there's anything else to go on about. I think I've explained everything. Like these are the main things that decipher between contenders and not in OS. Maybe in NA it's different, but in OS at least it's pretty much this. Staying in the proactive state, knowing how to get back into the proactive state. Now this I can't really tell you how to do it. It's just really dependent on the thing. But if you have ults and shit, you can go back into the fight. You have to know what ults they have and know how to shut down ults and shit. Knowing strengths and weaknesses of your team comp, always study your team comps. If you're gonna run dive, why do you run dive? If you're gonna run 4 tanks, what's good about 4 tanks? Why are you running it? Knowing exactly the role you have in the team comp. Now this is individually, like I can't teach this. So for a D.Va, the D.Va is important because she matrixes the Winston and she peels. That's the main thing. She D.Va bombs to clear out ultis. I personally can't do it because I'm shit at the game. But apparently you could use D.Va bomb to clear out like a blade, for example, and zone out a blade. I don't know. I find that pretty hard to do. Comm structure, very, 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 very important. Make sure you always have this guy that's tracking ults and direction, and make sure you give him utmost respect. Like this guy is the leader of your team. And make sure your Winston and Tracer are always coordinating. Like these 2 things are the most important. Like I literally can't stress this enough how important Winston and Tracer is to dive, and Lucio to call direction and track holds. For example, I'll just give like an example on Comm Structure, and then I'll probably end it off here. And I'll post this on YouTube too. Alright, so okay. So. Alright, so let's say we're going into this I don't know, I'll get a static image again. Hang on. Sorry if this is like really budget. I'm just like just wanted to get all my points out, try help out as many people as I can. Look at the wrong one. Try help out as many people as I can. Alright. Also, just like for context, because there's probably not a lot of people when I did this, just suss that. Okay. Um. All right. So, alright, trying to think. Okay, here. All right, we'll look at Hanamura. All right. So let's say we're running Winston. I'll just always talk about Winston, Diva, Lucio, Zen, Genji, etc. Okay. All right. So the ideal thing to do. So in terms of comms, Lucio will call. All right. They're running Ursa Hog. What can we do? Oh, they won't be able to peel for their backline. Okay. And then this is how the comms should go. Okay. So Lucio will be like, so they're running Ursa Hog. Winston will be like, because he's thinking about the dive, right? He's thinking, oh, okay. So they won't be able to peel for their backline. Then Lucio will be like, okay, go straight through main and dive. So then that's Lucio's part done at the start of the fight. And then I fucked it. And then what happens after that is the Tracer says, okay, I'm ready. And then the Winston goes, and that's it. That's all there is to it. That's literally it. The Winston Diva, they stand here, the Lucio's there. They say, oh, and you also have to talk about whether it's a hard dive or it's a half dive, because if it's a half dive, Diva stays back and peels. If it's a full dive, everyone fucking goes and leaves a Zenyatta to die. No secret strats, Darkseid to do that every fucking time. You best believe Molotov probably has the highest death rate on that team because he's always, always, always in the back dying, which is fine because that's what they're doing. They're running as a 5-man dive. That's what they do. Yeah, hopefully that explains enough. So yeah, so the comms will be like, okay, Winston. So Winston will be like, oh, you see Zen, you see Zen. Trace will be like, yeah. Bang, like literally, just press your shift buttons and go. That's literally that. That is what dive comp is. I think dive comp has been the most, I'd say, like the most easiest meta so far, in my opinion. Like, there's not much skill to diving with the Winston Tracer. Again, on this map, like, talk about what you do. So, you have the entrance here, you have the halls here, and you have that entrance there, right? Those are the 3 entrances you can go from. I'll use my pink pen, because why not? That's the highlighter. Okay, you have that, right? And what the other team is thinking is, okay, so we're running Winston Diva, so we need to dive as well. So where are we going to stand? If we're in a shit position, we'll probably hold market. If we're playing Widow, we'll probably only fight in Widow LOS, because that's our win condition. So they'll fight anywhere from here to here, right? So your plan of attack. So Lucio, obviously, it doesn't always have to be Lucio, but I'm just using it as an example. Lucio sees they have a Widow. Alright, guys, they have a Widow. How are we dealing with it? Genji will be like, oh, I'll flank from the back, It's all good. And then we'll be like, alright. So we'll plan the dive. So you'll put your Zenyatta at stairwell, so you can have a LOS of point. So they've used the word point here, so I'll just use the word point. He'll have LOS of point, and your Winston, your Diva, and your Tracer will all go around here and dive their healers, while the Genji's on the Widow. That's like a good plan of attack for first point Dorado. That should be exactly how the comms are. In terms of your Zenyatta, man, like I remember someone told me a story of how Taimu was someone was speaking to Taimu at World Cup, and he's like, oh, how are your Zenyatta's comms like? He's like, oh, that fuck, he always dies, and then they'll be like, oh, the only thing we hear of him is like fucking what's it called? What do we hear of him? Oh, I got a trace on me, and then that's it, he's dead. But he's fine because he knows that his win conditions being fulfilled. Like, there's nothing wrong with him dying first every fight, as long as your whole team is diving and they know this is happening. Whew, alright. That's all the juice I got, boys. Ask me questions, quick. Ask as many questions as you can, and if you need to ask me questions off stream, DM me on Discord. I'd probably make a command for my Discord, but I don't, so I'll just put it down here. Oh wait, what is my Discord? Because can one of the mods put my Discord? Because I can't see it because streamer mode. Yeah, so any questions? In terms of win conditions, like they're different for every composition. With Soldier, it's to keep the Soldier on the high ground. With Genji, it's the Charge Blade. With for tanks, it's to sustain a tank fight and to out sustain their tanks with and then your win condition changes every fight because you might be up on ults, you might be low on ults, you might not be, shit like that. Um, Also this guy was the YouTuber. He's called Yiska. I don't know. I don't watch his videos. I just watch this one. So yeah. Oh, whoops. Probably should have the Twitter. Yeah. So we'll just watch over this game, and if you guys have any questions, just continue. We'll just talk about the next point attack and how the comms would be like. So this point attack is always the ugliest. Yeah, thank you. That's my Discord, by the way, if you would like to DM me. This point attack's really the ugliest because so many, there's shitty entrances, there's not much you could dive. There is a way to do it. It just takes a lot of coordination, like a lot. Um, Serenity always had problems with that, and that's personally because of me too. Like I was like a lot of the strat caller. As I said, see, that's another thing. Comm structures can be different for every team. I just said what my ideal world was. That's like how I think comm structure should be. Um, yeah, so they just stand around like this is like one thing I always have like I have to make this point, even though it's the dumbest point to ever make, and you think people know this, but they don't. If I show you shitty contenders teams, you guys will be like, okay, well, you're right. Alright, let me teach you something. Doing something is better than doing nothing. Sitting in a choke and dying is fucking horrible. Like, surely someone makes a plan, and if your plan is to go through this choke, then you're playing your composition wrong. Like you're just straight up playing your composition wrong because you don't have a soldier. So why would you even want the high ground? Like that's there's literally so it's either A, you have your composition wrong, or B, you don't understand how to play the Overwatch. That's literally it. Like I don't know how else to put it. Like say Jam just do it on repeat. Like this is it, guys. Like this is the contenders team. Now, no offense to Jam, a lot of teams make this mistake. This is a contenders team. They're still trying to force themselves through a choke, like as a dive comp. Do you guys understand why win conditions and understanding the strength plus weaknesses of your team comps are very important? Yeah, yeah. So this is it. We'll just watch the rest of this play. So they're still just holding the high ground. Like I literally cannot fathom what the fuck is going on. Micro just killed Render through trance. That would be so coordinated. Did they have a Zen? Yeah, Until would have discorded him, and everyone would have just focused Render at the same time, and Micro would have got his reset off it. It's pretty big. One thing you could always tell with Blank Blue is they fucking use a lot of ults when they shouldn't. Like, holy shit, Until still has trance. Actually, fucking have a celebration about that shit. Alright. Yeah, so I'll probably end this here. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned enough. If you have any questions, as I said, DM me on Discord or just like ask me here. I could do Team VOD reviews if you guys want. Probably not that often because I quit Overwatch to focus on school. So, but yeah, so like a lot of the reason why I did this because a lot of people say there's not enough resources for the Division 2 scene. Um, so yeah, so this is a resource. This is a massive resource. This is enough to get you into contenders. If you can follow this, and if you need help in like applying it to your game, then you can get it to contenders. As I said, like nothing I spoke about was mechanical play as well. Like nothing I said was, oh, you need a good tracer. No, you need a monkey and a tracer who can shift at the same time. Like doesn't take that much skill really. God, Micro is so good at the game. Alright, I'm probably gonna end it here. Yeah, thanks for watching. Hopefully you guys learned a lot. Can't go to my DMs, rip. Hang on. Hang on. Changing screens. Alright. I'll probably host someone and go to bed. Who am I hosting? Who am I hosting, boys? I'm hosting Frogger because we are just watching his game. Alright, GG's guys. Latest.